Hey everyone, and welcome back to What Did I Miss, where today I have some exciting news to share with you about the future of Star Trek, and that is that we have a director and a set of writers for the next movie in the franchise, as well as possibly a release date. If you are weary of this news, I suppose I would not blame you, since this is the 5th or 6th reported attempt to make another movie after 2016's Star Trek Beyond, but the details surrounding this announcement definitely make it seem like this movie is imminently on the horizon. You may also recall that there have been some updates about another movie script in March of 2021, along with other casting and story rumors, most of which I covered on this channel. But don't worry, because I think I have an idea about how all of this will work together and what we could be in store for. If this is your first time on the channel, my name is Eric, and here on What Did I Miss, I cover all the Star Trek news and rumors, as well as break down episodes from the franchise. So be sure to like this video and hit that subscribe button if you want to be kept up to date on everything happening in the Star Trek verse. I have a really cool giveaway for subscribers going for the summer, and if you want to stick around to the end of the video, I will share it with you and what you need to do to be entered. This news comes from Deadline, who also broke the story about the other movie script being put into production back in March. In case you're not familiar with that story, I'll briefly summarize it now, but I do have a couple of videos where I go into it in more detail if you are interested, and I will link those here and in the description if you'd like to check them out. Paramount announced in March that Kalinda Vasquez, who had written the short trek Ask Not, which included Anson Mount as Captain Pike, as well as the Star Trek Discovery Mirror Universe episode Terra Firma, was hired to write an original movie script that would be distributed by Bad Robot Productions, the production company of J.J. Abrams. Many people believe that this meant it would be a sequel to Star Trek Beyond because of Abrams' involvement, but this has since been refuted by the studio, and they're saying that this movie idea is an original one. Personally, I think that announcing that Bad Robot Productions is involved simply quantifies the scale of the movie as a big budget production and one that will be released in theaters, which is something that is not a guarantee when it comes to movies since 2020. In June, Paramount announced that Star Trek had a release date for a movie of June 9th, 2023, and most people assumed that date would be tied to this past news, but that was never confirmed by the studio. A rumor that has since come out into the ether is that Paramount is looking for a female-led movie in the Star Trek franchise, and that Brie Larson may be the star that the company is trying to lure. Again, I covered this in a video and we'll leave it here if you want to watch it, but at the same time, I thought it made a lot of sense because of the involvement of Miss Vasquez and her history of writing strong female leads into her stories. If you have seen the 2 Star Trek episodes she was involved with, they are led by strong women, and Miss Vasquez has other writing credits such as Once Upon a Time, Nikita, Fear the Walking Dead, and The Runaways, in which she did the same with the characters on those series. This latest news comes from Deadline once again, and apparently there is another movie script for a Star Trek movie that is being fast-tracked into production. They report that Paramount has a script from screenwriters Lindsay Beer and Geneva Robertson DeWart, and that it will be directed by Matt Shakman. If you are not familiar with these talented people, Lindsay Beer probably has the least amount of credits to her name, but besides being a writer on this film, she has also been hired to write a script for the Silver Sable movie set in the Spider-Man Marvel universe, as well as a reboot of the Pet Sematary movie. If nothing else, I hope this job keeps her from doing the latter, because I think I've had enough Stephen King remakes, and this would be like the 3rd remake of that movie. Geneva Robertson DeWart is known for writing the screenplay of the not Angelina Jolie version of Tomb Raider, as well as the MCU movie Captain Marvel. Matt Shakman, though, is probably the biggest get for this project, as he is one of the highest in-demand directors in Hollywood right now because of his work on the MCU series WandaVision. But he has been working in TV for a long time, starting out as this kid on the 90s series Just the 10 of Us, and before WandaVision he directed episodes of Game of Thrones, 6 Feet Under, Fargo, and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. He also has received a lot of awards for his work in theater, and is expected to win a bunch more for directing all the episodes of WandaVision. It was reported that Shakman had many projects to choose from and went with Star Trek, and as I mentioned, the studio would be fast-tracking this movie. A release date was not given with the report, but with the 2023 movie release date reported by Paramount in June, less than 2 years away, you have to think that it would be tied to this project. Another interesting aspect of the story is how it was amended after it was initially released. At first, the reporter who released the story, Mike Fleming Jr., stated that this movie would star the cast from the J.J. Abrams Kelvin universe that included Chris Pine as Captain Kirk, but this was later removed from the article. Thanks to Trek Central for catching this too. Now the fact that this information was removed could be a few things. One is that it is true, but the studio demanded they retract the information, which happens more than you would expect. I remember last year, a certain Next Generation actor stated on a podcast that they would be returning in an upcoming series, and Paramount had the podcast take down that portion of the interview out of their recording. Another reason for this could be that this information could not be confirmed, and in fact another writer from Deadline added that he believed that the plan was to get the cast back, but no deals had been set. This seems odd to me though, because if this script includes the Kelvinverse cast, Wouldn't they have to sign them before putting the movie into pre-production? That would be like handing out a menu to customers without having any food to cook first. It's not like they can make a movie about this cast without having all the available members back, unless it is going to be something like Star Trek Generations and only follow one main character, which is not likely. The third option would be that this is not true and that is why it was removed and was only added in the initial report because of the movie's involvement with J.J. Abrams' Bad Robot Productions, similar to what occurred after the script being written by Clinda Vasquez was announced. I honestly think that is why the bit was removed from the report, and really you only have to look at the talent involved that has been confirmed to understand why. Okay, first let's circle back to that rumor I mentioned earlier about a female-led film. In it, I stated that Brie Larson was also being considered for the role, and while she has starred in many things over the years, she is most well known for her role as Captain Marvel, which was a movie written by Geneva Robertson DeWart, who is also one of the writers of this Star Trek movie and wrote Tomb Raider, which besides being a reboot, is also a female-led movie. The other writer on the film, Lindsay Beer, is also working on a script for the movie Silver Sable, which besides being in the Spider-Man film universe and being a part of Marvel, will be a movie with a female lead. The director of this film, Matt Shakman, is now known for his work on WandaVision, which of course is in the MCU and is a series with a female lead. It is also worth noting that the episodes of Game of Thrones that Mr. Shakman wrote, Eastwatch and Spoils of War, were both episodes that centered heavily on Daenerys Targaryen, the female lead of that show, and Nikita, another show he was heavily involved with, was led by a strong female character. Unless your name is Lal, you probably get where I'm going with this, and that is that Paramount has very strategically and not so subtly stacked this movie production with a roster of people who know how to write resilient female characters. Knowing this, I have to think that is what they are planning with this movie. I would be really surprised if it did involve anyone from the Kelvinverse cast. And yes, IMDb does have the cast of the Kelvinverse listed on the movie page of this film, but I have seen this site been wrong on almost every movie that has been released, so don't even consider them to be a good source for this kind of information. As far as what this means for the project tied to Clinda Vasquez, I do think that is still in the works and that it is possible we could have more movies being released with different casts, similar to how the aforementioned Marvel Studios has multiple characters and storylines intersecting at key moments, but also standing out on their own films and series. It looks like Paramount is hiring every Marvel employee they can, so it would make sense that they would want creators that also existed in this type of creative environment that some consider stifling. But without a doubt, this means Star Trek is looking very strong for at least the next couple of years, and I can't wait to see what happens. But what do you think of this news? Are you excited for this new talent being brought on board, or are you tired of hearing about Star Trek movies that might come out? Well, this is all I have for this video, but if you are a subscriber, I promised you a giveaway, and I think this one is the best one I've run so far. I am giving away this 6-disc box set of the Alien movie franchise over the summer of 2021. And all you have to do to be entered is to like and comment on this video and be a subscriber to this channel and my new one, WDIM+. On this channel, I talk about sci-fi, but on WDIM+, I talk about everything else. So subscribing to both is a great way to support this content and get access to all my videos as soon as they come out. Thank you very much for clicking on this video. Please hit that like button if you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time on What Did I Miss?